Okay, in the last video we talked about what to do if you have a second treatment group. In this video we're going to talk about what to do if you have a control group or a business as usual group. Now what's going to be key in identifying this group is the group receiving math intervention from the researchers? If they're receiving some sort of other intervention, then that's going to be a second treatment group, and I want you to go back and you can watch the other video, or really you're just going to watch the how to code for treatment number 1 video, because it's the same no matter how many treatments you have. We copy the same information. But if you have a business as usual group, what that's going to look like is it's going to look like a group of students who don't receive any math intervention from the research team. Usually they're called a control group or a comparison group, or sometimes they are labeled the business as usual BAU group. So where you typically find information on the BAU is in the methods section, and it is usually down towards the bottom. I'll say it's becoming more common for people to include information on the comparison group because there's lots of research coming out about how important it is to define the control group, or sometimes it's called the counterfactual. So what is sort of the everyday, what are they getting? For older studies, they might not have a ton of information on the control group. This is a great study because, Bryant just has really great practice and includes a lot of really great information that is recommended. So the way that the comparison group is defined here in this article is they talk about the fidelity of the comparison. Sometimes it'll just say description of comparison, description of control, description of BAU. So I'm going to put here that their BAU, they call it the comparison group, is the group title that they give it. And then their brief description, they just define as business as usual. So I'm just going to put BAU. So kind of like the other condition names and brief descriptions, we're not going to double code for reliability on these terms. This is just to give us sort of an anchor about what we're looking at. And now the cool thing is really for the BAU, all we're really interested in is whether or not this is considered an active or a passive BAU. So let's look at what that might entail. So if it is a passive BAU, then that means there's no treatment provided at all. It's just regular math instruction, no support, no intervention from the research team. It's just kind of what they're getting in a typical day. So an active BAU would be something that the students are getting that isn't a math intervention per se, but it is additional instruction from the research team. So for example, this might be a reading intervention, and you might say like, well, when does this happen? Well, this might happen when students are being pulled for tutoring. Some parents might protest that their student isn't receiving math intervention, so the researchers might say, well, your child is gonna receive reading intervention, so at least they're getting something, but it's not impairing the study and sort of testing the effectiveness of the intervention. So what we're going to look for is we're really just going to go into the description of the comparison group, and it says right here, across the participating schools, no school offered a specific Tier 2 math intervention. There's nothing that the researchers provide, so there's nothing sort of active that the students in this intervention, or in this comparison group are receiving. So I'm going to put a 0. And even though they're not receiving any additional support, I do want to put that I found that information on 112 in case anyone wanted to go back and look at more information about the comparison group. And I will say we will touch on more, like this paragraph is so beautiful to me because I love fidelity. So we'll come back to this paragraph when we do talk about fidelity data, but for now, all we need to know about the BAU is it an active or a passive BAU group? And that's all for this video.